Should you rent or should you buy? Buying a home is one of the biggest investments that you will make in your lifetime, and it's a common thing to question if you are ready to make this big commitment. There are so many factors to consider when making this decision, and in today's video we are going to be discussing some of these factors to help you answer the question, should you buy or should you rent? Before we start discussing some of the factors to take into consideration, I just want to mention that this video and other videos similar to this one will not directly answer the question. However, they will give you beneficial information to assist you in answering the question. Everyone will have a different opinion on whether you should buy or whether you should rent, and the answer will also vary depending on who you ask. Some of the most common things said is some variation of renting is just throwing away money, or by renting you're just paying the mortgage for your landlord. And although there is some truth to these comments, buying is not always the best option for some people. Be especially wary when a real estate professional is telling you to buy. Renting is terrible, renting is bad, don't do it. Especially if they haven't taken the time to get to know you, your current situation, and your future plans. Yes, I'm a loan officer, and just like any other real estate professional, I make money when people buy homes. But I hate when I hear other real estate professionals telling people to buy, and they haven't even taken the time to get to know them, their situation, or their goals. When in reality, renting may be the right decision or more beneficial to them based off of their current situation. My hope is that after watching this video, you have a better understanding of the main factors to consider when determining if you should rent or if you should buy. Alright guys, now that we have all that out of the way, let's get into today's video. First things first, you have to prepare yourself mentally for the added responsibilities that come with homeownership, and you have to prepare your finances so you can be ready to buy. Yes, I'm a loan officer, and yes, I help people buy homes, but it is also my duty to help people understand the financial implications of buying a home. So if you're currently not in a good financial position, buying a home is only going to make it worse. Now, here's 5 factors to consider when determining if you should rent or if you should buy. Do you have high interest debt? Ideally, you would want to have minimal to no high interest debt. This includes things such as credit cards, personal loans, or auto loans. However, if you do have high interest debt, create a plan so you can significantly pay down that debt or completely pay off that debt before you buy a home. Are you financially stable and responsible? Both are very important. Do you have a stable job and income to ensure that you can continue making your mortgage payments in the future? And are you responsible with the money that you're making? Have a budget set in place that includes savings that you will be putting towards your emergency fund. That leads me to this. Do you have an emergency fund set in place? Ideally, your emergency fund should be able to cover a couple months worth of living expenses. Since you now have the added responsibility of home ownership, you're now in charge of the mortgage payment, the bills, and any maintenance that you may have in the property. Typically, when you're renting, any maintenance or repairs that need to be done, the landlord takes care of. Well, that responsibility is now transferred over to you since you are the owner of the home. Having an emergency fund is not necessarily mandatory to get a mortgage, but it is strongly recommended. As we just discussed, the responsibilities of repairs and maintenance are now on you. So if you need a new water heater or if you have a plumbing issue, well, hey, you have your emergency fund set in place, so it's not going to be as stressful. You're not going to have to take a little bit of extra money out your paycheck specifically for this because you've been doing that before you bought the house up until now, and you're continuing to do it. So the emergency fund is there to help relieve the stress when you need extra money for repairs or maintenance. Another factor to consider is the housing and renting market in the place you're wanting to live in. In some places, it's cheaper to buy versus rent, and in other places, it's cheaper to rent versus buy. This is one of the most important factors to consider when determining if you should be buying or if you should be renting. Here where I'm at in Texas, it is typically cheaper to buy as opposed to renting. But in other places such as San Francisco or New York City, it is probably cheaper to rent as opposed to buying. So before you're deciding whether you should rent or buy, make sure to do some research in the housing and renting market in your area so you can make the best decision for you. And lastly, are you willing to be in this home for a couple of years? Buying and selling a home costs money. When you're buying a home, you have closing costs. When you're selling a home, you have selling costs such as realtor commissions and other costs. It'll be hard to make a profit or even break even if you haven't lived in the house long enough to gain enough equity to actually make a profit. These are just some of the few factors to consider when determining if you should be renting or if you should be buying. There are other factors such as, do you have money for your down payment and closing costs saved up, and what your credit score is. But like I mentioned at the beginning, this video was not meant to give you a direct yes or no answer. This video was just made so you can have a better overall understanding of the implications of homeownership, so you have enough knowledge available to you to decide, should you be renting or should you be buying. If you're wanting to buy a home in the near future but realize you aren't quite ready after watching this video, feel free to reach out to myself or any other real estate professional, and we'd be glad to assist you and create a game plan for you to help you be better prepared to buy. If you learned something in today's video, do me a huge favor and like and comment on it. It really helps me out and allows me to reach more people. Also, don't forget to subscribe and share this channel with any future homeowners that you know so they can be better prepared as well. If you'd like me to assist you in purchasing your next home, or if you just have questions over mortgages or the homeownership process, please feel free to reach out to me. My contact information is down below. Like I always say, guys, knowledge is power. The more you know, the better prepared you'll be. Thank you guys for watching this video and have a wonderful day.